What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Michael Fletcher, and I'd like to welcome you to this special video as we are here today in Rhode Island and, of course, in the New England area. Today, the Boston Red Sox announced a passing that was, well, it rocked the court, to say the very least. One of their all-time greats, Johnny Pesky, the man who is known as a very good hitter back in the World War II era, back in the 1940s, passed away at the age of 92 today. Johnny Pesky was, not one of the greatest hitters in baseball history, but is recognized in baseball lore as a great, as a very good man, a great ambassador, a great patriot and American. And not only that, but was well loved in the Boston Red Sox community, in Red Sox Nation, and for that matter, in baseball in general. During his career, he did tally up a 307 lifetime average, having over 1,455 hits, and brought in about 404 runners batted in. He did have 17 home runs in his career, and these numbers doesn't really pop out or say, wow, it's a Hall of Fame career. But you also got to remember at the time and the era that this actually happened. We're talking World War II, about 1942, 1943, 1944. So you got to think there wasn't that many games. And on top of that, he served for the United States military in World War II. So he lost about 3 years of his playing career, a total of 10 years in the big leagues. He did play 8 years with Boston, had 1 year with the Detroit Tigers, and 1 year with the Washington Senators. Then he did parlay his career and became a manager. Actually was in a AA and AAA organization that was actually ran by the dreaded New York Yankees. Actually, if you guys go on to Wikipedia, you'll find out where that stems from. But he did get his opportunity to be in the big leagues and was actually a manager for the Boston Red Sox in 1963 and 1964, but didn't really have that much success in either of his terms. Was subsequently let go just before the end of the 1964 season. He was a bench coach for the Pittsburgh Pirates for 4 years, between 1965 through 1969, and then in 1980 was brought back to the Boston Red Sox to be an interim manager for 5 games in 1980. Back then, a few years ago, especially once we got back to near the end of his, career and everything else, there was a lot of great moments that the Red Sox did. They honored Johnny Pesky for his contributions with the Boston Red Sox by naming the Pesky pole, the legendary right field foul pole that's about 206 feet. It's the short porch down the right field line. If you know Fenway Park, it's legendary. Well, they say that is his, the Pesky pole, honoring him because a lot of his home runs, especially his home runs, was down that line, down that little Pesky line around the 302 mark, and it always used to skid, always used to go wrap around the pole for a home run, and that's how that happens. He did get his number retired by the Boston Red Sox in 2007. He was also honored by the Boston Red Sox as part of their World Series championship, where they did get a chance to present him, where they actually presented him actually with a replica of a World Series ring. Then he did come back 2 times to raise the banner as part of the Legends of Boston Red Sox history. The last time we got to see Johnny Pesky was during the 100th anniversary celebration that they did have this past season on April 20th, and of course the big news today that he did pass away in Danvers, Massachusetts at the age of 92. So with that said, to all Red Sox Nation fans and to the Red Sox Nation, my deepest condolences goes to the Pesky family, to the Boston Red Sox, and to baseball in general. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. I'm Michael Fletcher. You can catch me later on tonight as myself, Derek Ferreira, Anthony Florio, and Michael Bullock will have the Wrestling Forum at 11 p.m. Eastern on Ustream.tv and on SLB 2008-09 on this YouTube channel. Until then, I'm Michael Fletcher. You know the routine, everybody. Hugs and hand pounds. I am out. You're watching Braves Fan 95 on YouTube.com. See ya.